Hey, who goes there? The Sentry. The Buck Sentry is what we're checking out today. Stay tuned. You're going to get a tabletop and a full hardcore out in the field test review all in one today. So stay tuned. We're going to do the tabletop with the basic specs and feel, and then we're going to cut to a bunch of footage out in the wilderness kicking the crap out of this knife, and you will not want to miss it. So stay tuned here through this entire review. It's going to be awesome. This is the brand new 2013 Buck Sentry. I'll give you the quick specs of what we're looking at. A 6.6 ounce knife, so nice lightweight blade. We have it made out of the Buck 420 high carbon steel, Rockwell hardness 58 flat, which is perfect, very comparable to, say, any SOG knife, a SOG Seal Pup, a SOG Northwest Ranger. That Rockwell hardness is great for survival, field type of use, because it's going to hold a good edge, but it's also going to take a wicked sharp edge when it comes time to resharpen pretty easily. You have a blade length of 5 inches. You have an overall length of 9.5 inches. You have a blade thickness of 1/8 of an inch. Clip point design, serrated only version is what they make right now. No plain edge as of yet. I really hope they do, because this knife so far has been blowing my mind. And we got kind of Gryvery, Zytel type of handles with some texturing. I don't know if you can see that, but that is much better texturing than, say, the BK line of products, lanyard hole, and a nylon sheath that we'll get into over there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this baby with the blade up front. This is literally, in my opinion, a Buck US-made offering to compete with the SOG Seal Pup, because it's almost the exact same size, almost the exact same weight, and just very similar in a lot of ways, and I am digging this blade just as much as I dig that SOG Seal Pup, and in some ways even better. So let's go ahead, 5-inch blade here, great for utility tasks as well as some close-in fighting, which I know is how they're pitching this to you, called the Sentry. You know that you're going to be on guard duty, and you got to use this knife possibly to slit some intruder's throat or stab somebody and pop open some crates, make some shelter use maybe. Let's go ahead. Right here, you got a really high traction coating on this particular blade, blacked out. It is made in the U.S., like I said, out of the 420 high carbon steel, which Buck does a great job with. A lot of other 420 high carbon steels like Gerber, not that good of quality. This is good quality 420 high carbon. We got a hollow grind, but razor hair popping sharp out of the box. I called Buck. They grind in all their knives at 13 to 15 degree angles. That's why it's so sharp, wicked sharp. The only kind of downside of that is with really hard like wood use, it is going to dull a little bit faster. So it's just kind of pros and cons. You may want to take that out to more of a 17 degree angle or possibly even 20 degree angle once it kind of dulls on you. Over the course of some time, but razor sharp, amazing amount of belly here. The serrations are good. They're not the best serrations in the world. I've definitely seen better ones that cut a little bit better, but they do cut cord really well, nylon, all those different things. I would prefer a plain edge. A plain edge, this would make this an awesome wilderness knife. Right now, it's more of a tactical a utility knife, not so much a wilderness blade, though you could do a lot of wilderness tasks. We're going to kick the crap out of it here momentarily out in the woods. But those serrations are nice. Very sharp. Again, the really nice belly clip point design, so it's going to stab and penetrate really well, but it's got that really good tip, and we're going to do some stress tests, stabbing it into some wood here and prying in a minute. And then that 1/8 of an inch thick, I mean, it's not going to baton or split wood very well. It's just not designed for that. It's designed to be fast and quick and agile, which is what it is. But it's very strong, full tang design all the way through. Going on here, you got an awesome thumb ramp with some jimping. Yeah, we love it. With an awesome hilt down here, hand guard, so you're not going to accidentally, if you are stabbing, using this in a tactical format, stabbing it into wood, regardless if you're using it in reverse grip. However you're using this knife, you are locked in, ready to go. And what's awesome with this thumb ramp is if I'm holding it like this, I'm ready in a tactical stabbing situation, then if I need to choke up and do some more detailed stuff, some more whittling and wood use, then I can do that very easily, and that thumb ramp doesn't get in the way and actually cups my thumb amazingly well for those more detailed tasks. And particularly, Buck, I hope you're listening, get me a plain edge and I will love this thing even more. So that is awesome lockup for tactical use. Those Zytel type of handles, really nice palm swell. I wear large size gloves, fills out my hand plenty. I got about 1 inch on the bottom left over, so I could back up, or if you have extra large size gloves, hands, you could definitely carry those as well without any problems. And that little bit of texturing, I hope you can see it there. Trying to show it to you. That texturing is awesome. definitely helps a lot better, like I said earlier, than say the BK models. And you can unscrew them if you need to clean it out, or you want to lash it to something. 2 lanyard holes, so you can make a huge paracord, lanyard, not extra, just paracord if you want. However you would want that to be. Just amazing, feels really good in my hand. Nice flat back, non-lethal, or hammering some tent pegs if you needed to. And then the sheath itself here, trying to step on it so we can get into the actual wilderness use out here in the field testing. You got paracord. This is very similar to the other tops, the Buck Tops Nighthawk. This is the exact same sheath almost. They just did a slight upgrade. You got the clip, nice pocket. You get a Leatherman sharpening tool, pocket knife in there, nice strong clip. Then you got Molly on the back, Velcro belt loop so you can put it on your belt without taking your belt off. Then you got your plastic insert, button, retention, and an extra retention here. So it goes in either way, left or right, goes in. And then you would tighten this thing up so you kind of got a double lashing if you're kind of nervous about that. And you can see there the blade does not get extended. I'm pulling really hard. It's not going to come out, cut me by accident. And the retention's pretty good. I mean, it is going to rattle. But in comparison to some of the other ones, definitely better retention than the Buck Nighthawk with that particular nylon sheath. So overall, not bad. I mean, I've seen way worse sheaths on the market, and it's going to get the job done for all you average Joes out there. Let's go ahead, do some field testing with this baby, and you will have a great time watching what comes up next. Check it out. All right, everybody, here we go with a tip strength and feathering test here for the Buck Sentry. Just going to stab this into this big hard piece of wood, do some twisting, prying, just so you can kind of get a feel for how strong that tip is. Even though it's 1/8 of an inch thick, it's got a really good, strong, reinforced all the way through tip. You can just see there, I mean, I'm just going to town. I can pry all day with this thing, pop open, military crates, use it, in survival tasks, stabbing, and you're not going to bend or chip. You can see there. Oh yeah, baby. You're not going to bend, chip, or break that tip at all. And that's just a really good, strong test of a knife's tip ability, penetration ability. Oh yeah, man. I mean, I just all day long, I'm not going to bend or warp or jack up that tip for the Buck Sentry. All right, everybody, going to do just a couple, just sitting down, if you're whittling or you're trying to make a tent peg, or a spear or any sort of kind of wood cutting task. I just kind of want to show you the different angles that you can use this Buck Sentry with. And you can get back here on this nice thumb ramp with the jimping. If you're just kind of doing your more, just kind of getting all the extra material off, kind of getting the ideal shape you want before you kind of get all aggressive on it and figure out which way you want to do it. I'm using the Serrations right now, and they do well. And if I wanted to kind of scoot up here on the belly of the blade, I mean, you can just see there it's just going right through all these little knots. Just very simple. And then if I want to choke up here and want to kind of get a little bit more aggressive in what I'm cutting, get a little bit crazier angle, you can see there if I wanted to do feather sticks or something like that, I could use it. The Serrations do okay, and they're holding up well. They're not dulling, and they're not bending and warping or chipping. Serrations have a tendency to do that, so these Serrations are holding up well under wood and hard use. As well as you can do a reverse pull grip, like this. When your hands start getting tired the opposite way, and it actually feels relatively comfortable. That thumb ramp cups my index finger right there really well. The hilt covers my hand, so I'm not going to accidentally slide up. And it just fills out my hand well. Those handles are just really, really nice. With gloves, I wear large size gloves. It's almost on the verge of being too small. So if you had extra large size hands and you were wearing gloves, like work gloves, leather work gloves, and trying to use this knife, the handle would be almost a little too small for you. So it's almost on the verge of being slightly too small, but with either barehanded or with thin gloves, and you have like large or medium or small hands, the handle is going to work just fine. So regardless of what type of way you're going to use this knife around the campsite, doing your different tasks, small, detail work, I mean, this is what this knife is going to be good at. It does well, and you can do all those different types of pulls comfortably, and it's not going to cramp your hand. Again, that's the Buck Sentry with all its different cutting styles. Just wanted to show you what this buck Sentry can do. This feathering was done with the serrations on this buck Sentry just now, and I was extremely impressed with how thin it was able to do that, how much. That's very, very impressive. I'm not usually a serration guy. I don't really approve and don't really like to use serrations, but that serration on that buck Sentry did an awesome, awesome job feathering and preparing wood for a fire. It's going to do a great job for you in that capacity and around the campsite. So just want to kind of show that to you, check it out, and very impressed with those serrations. All right, so here's some batoning and hacking with the Sentry. I mean, this is a 5-inch blade. It's 1/8 of an inch thick, so you're not going to do a lot of like huge wood processing with this knife, regardless if it was a plain edge or a serrated. But I mean, I'm sure it's going to chop through. You know, this is about a almost 2-inch log here. You're going to be able to hack through it without a huge amount of difficulty, I think. Well, you can see there that that's not really the best use of this knife. I'm going to try here with a different stick a little bit, see if we can get through it. Yeah, that sucker's not wanting to go. So you can see that that's not going to do that type of a job for you. And this is probably about 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick. Let's try maybe a little bit smaller stick here. These are somewhat wet, so they're somewhat bouncy. Okay, so it'll do that. There we go. So I mean, it'll do some splitting, but you can just see there, maybe it's just because there was a knot or it's wet, but it's not going to probably do a lot of chopping like that. And you can do very minor batoning. Here's just a little batoning, bit of wood. I mean, you'll be able to split wood relatively easily with just smaller tasks like that. There you go. You can see it's just not really designed to kind of split and hack wood. So it's not necessarily the best wood processing knife because of the thinness of the blade. But what I can see here, and we're just going to go on to kind of the feathering, is after doing that, and I'm just going to kind of do some more hacking right here. I mean, you can see it definitely bites into the wood relatively well. I mean, it gets about, I don't know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch into the wood with each bite. So, I mean, if you had to, you really had to split something like this, you could do it. It would just take a lot longer and a lot more effort than usual to do it, which isn't the best, again, for necessarily like all-day survival. You know, this is a great like day hiker, or again, the fighting kind of tactical utility around a, you know, an army base, something like that. And then going on, after kind of brutalizing this edge, I'm going to tell you it's probably still razor sharp. Oh yeah. That's just as sharp as when we took it out of the box. And you can definitely do, you know, some feathering for your fire, some fire sticks very easily. Again, a plain edge would be awesome. I really hope they do make a plain edge with this. But you know, cupping, again, going over that thumb ramp and then cupping your thumb right there, and you know, just doing your feathering, whittling tasks. It's going to do really well. And the serrations will cut. I mean, I'm using the serrations right here. And you can see there, they will do some feathering. They will bite in really well. You can just see there. I mean, that's digging in really nice and good. So again, this is going to do the same type of things that a SOG seal pup would do. Building some, you know, helping you build shelters. It's not going to process wood very well in the sense of batoning and splitting. But, you know, just opening packaging, you know, if you're on a hunting trip, the awesome amount of belly, and that 420 high carbon Rockwell hardness of 58 that buck does a really good job at edge retention and you know, just brutalizing these edges on both the Sentry and the Reaper back here. Very impressed with that 420 high carbon, and you know, I would definitely stake my edge retention, you know, life on that. It's the same as, you know, a Cold Steel SRK, SOG Seal Pup, some 1095s that I've experienced. You know, it's going to help hold that type of edge retention when you're beating it up and kicking the crap out of it out here in the woods. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay equipped, stay prepared. The buck Sentry, recommended for your utility fighting tasks and a little bit of survival.